Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. We're back with Kaya, I think that's what we're calling her now. And we're ready to put her last coat on, which is going to be blush. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to put this blush on her right here. And while we have it out, I'm going to re-dip my other brushes over here I have at the side. It keeps them fresh and ready to go. I'm almost about to run out of space in my jar because I just keep moving them down to the new jar as I put the colors on them. And that makes the jars get full really, really quick. Really, I should probably put that in this other jar that's empty right here and move them down. I keep rotating the jars. The one to the far right will be the one that has the driest brushes, and the one to the far left, the wettest. And in that way, I can keep them separated into different categories. So we're going to do this for a minute, and then we'll be ready to do her blush. This is just one of the steps we do when we're making dolls. Any brush that's really smaller than this one, probably you're not going to be able to get enough paint in it to do any good. I took all the brushes out of my little jars over here that I don't use. They're just sticking in the jars for no reason. And the ones that I had in a drawer over here that I wasn't using. And I sent them all to the people who got the boxes from me. Let's see now. We're going to use one of these to get our sponge wet. Oh, crap. Okay. Alrighty, we're ready. So Kaya's going to get her blush now, and then she's also going to get her nails tipped. So then this will be her final step before she gets, you know, magnets and hair and glue and all that stuff. And then Monday, today is, I think it's Wednesday, it might be Thursday, I'm not sure. Monday's my put together day. That's the day I put the dolls together. I try to do it all on one day so that I don't have to do it all during the week. I just don't enjoy putting dolls together. And so what I do is sometimes I do this and sometimes I don't. In my spare time, I'll start putting the glass and everything in the limbs so that they're ready. And sometimes I even stuff the bodies ahead of time so they're ready, so that on put together day it goes a little faster. But I haven't done that this time, so I'll be doing everything on Monday. It's probably what I'll do all day Monday. I probably won't make a video because I'll be putting dolls together. And nobody wants to see that. It's so ultra boring. At least I think it is. If you've ever seen a doll being put together, it's the same no matter what doll you put together. And I do put the glue on ahead of time. I want it dry before I put the doll together. I put the magnet in and the hair and all that. All the glues that have to go on it or in it get done ahead of time. I don't know if I can get Kaya done in time to get her ready to be put together on Monday. If today's Wednesday, I think it is. I think it's Wednesday. It's a chance I can get her done. I have to do her. I have two dolls ahead of her that need hair, Darren and Blake. I just finished the other Clyde. He hasn't had his hair cut yet, but he's finished rooting. So later today, I'll start on one of these dolls. I think probably Blake. He's the driest up there, I think. I try to do them in the same order that I made them in, but it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes I forget to put the glue on them for 2 or 3 days, and then I've already glued some other doll ahead of them. So I don't always do it in order, but I try to, because, well, that's the way they're ready in that order. But I bet 8 or 9 dolls to put together Monday. And we're talking the whole 9 on putting them together. You have to put all the glass in, the stuffing, and make the bodies up and everything. I don't have anything done ahead of time. Now, if I have a little bit of time later today, I might work on that a little bit, but I don't know. It requires me to get them all out and check them to see what they need. And that's a little time consuming all by itself, so I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I just know that I have to get it done. Kaya may end up being a nursing home doll. I'm probably not going to give her a magnet. I give almost all of my dolls magnets. I'd say virtually every doll. Every now and then I don't because of factors that make it seem wasteful. Dolls going to the nursing home need to not have magnets in the first place because some people could have pacemakers and they are negatively affected by a magnet, especially a strong one. And you don't want to give somebody something that could end up harming them. So I don't need to put a magnet in her if I reasonably think she may go to the nursing home. People have bought plenty of dolls from me that didn't have magnets. It's not like she can't be, sold without a magnet. Some people just don't care about pacifiers on their dolls. I don't. In fact, I don't like them because they cover up their face too much. I'm not going to be sitting there pretending it's a real baby or anything. So I don't need that much realism. In fact, I had some homemade little baby bottles that I made. They were made from those little Similac bottles you get in the hospital when you have a baby. They have 2 ounces in them, I think, because newborn babies can't seem to drink 4-ounce bottles. Now, I had one that could, but most babies can't. My oldest son was ravenous when he was born. He was a big old fat baby, and he was ravenously hungry. He drank the entire 4-ounce bottle, and he wanted another one. He would scream and cry for it. And I had to start giving him cereal when he was very young because he couldn't get satisfied with milk. The milk would just be gone in an hour or two, and he wanted still another bottle. And the amount of formula he was drinking was astronomical. And, doctors don't like it if you're overfeeding your baby. At least they didn't. Now I think they say give them as much formula as they want anytime they want and stuff. But back when I was raising my kids were still put on schedules. They were given a prescribed amount to get every 4 hours, and that was it. And if they wanted anything else, you were supposed to give them water. Now they tell you don't even give your baby water because it could cause them to get water poisoning because you don't really know the safe amount. And but anyway, he was so ravenous. I'd fill his bottle up to 6. I'd get the big 8-ounce bottle, and I'd fill it up to 6 ounces with formula. And then I'd just go on and fill it the rest of the way up with the water because he wasn't going to drink that water by itself. But he got his 6 ounces of nutrition, and then he got water at the same time. So it did fill him up a little more. But then when that quit working, I had to start giving him some cereal. I took my mother's advice. I had called my mother, and she said, I'll tell you what I had to do with my babies when they were like that. I gave them cereal. And I said, really? He's so young. And she said, yeah, but we're not talking about making up cereal and spoon feeding it to him. We're talking about putting a tiny little, feathery little, wispy little tiny amount in his milk and just letting him drink it like that. It'll just be enough to sort of put some substance in his milk, and he will get satisfied. And it sure worked. And for a long time. But by the time he was, 4 months old, he was eating baby food. There was no way around it. We just couldn't not. He was too hungry. But anyway, long story short, these are little bottles that I was making. Little Similac bottles like you get at or Infamil or whatever kind it is. I don't know. That they give at the hospital when your baby is still in the hospital and they're feeding it, at the hospital. They have these little throwaway bottles, and they're very cute. They say either Similac or Infamil or whatever kind of milk it is on it. And they are sealed up with a lid that is made of a metallic material. I don't really know what it is. It's not aluminum because a magnet does not stick to aluminum. But it already has a magnet, a metal tip, so you don't need to put anything there. And you put the magnet in the baby's head just like you normally do. And then the bottle, since it doesn't have a nipple on it, will suck down to the baby's mouth and make it look like they're drinking a bottle. But you can't let it go really unless you prop it because it would just fall off. The magnets aren't strong enough to actually hold a big old bottle full of fake milk on their mouth. But I made about, I don't know, 10 of them. I was sending them in box openings when I was holding out on my dolls to get a better price. And so I was given a box opening with my dolls because, well, I was holding out until I got my better price. So I didn't have to worry about they were going for too cheap to afford to give them a box opening. So I was giving them a belly plate. I had tons of belly plates. But I was giving them a belly plate. I was giving them the outfit and another outfit and a whole bunch of little things in their box. There was at least 11 items. They got a comb and brush set. They got an extra pacifier. They got a pacifier clip. They got socks and little babies' booties or shoes or something for their feet. They got bows or hats, depending on if they were boys or girls. I mean, they just got a box opening. And one of the things I put in there was one of those little baby bottles. And they were so cute. And, people just don't care. They don't care. They want the box opening. Sure, they want it. But they don't want to get it so bad that they're going to pay regular price for the doll. They'd rather get a big, huge discount off the doll. And I just feel like if you're going to give them that much of a discount, what in the heck was that sound? I don't know what it was. If you're going to give them that much of a discount, you can't really afford to give them all those other things. All that stuff costs. The outfit's like $15 to $20, maybe more than that, depending on where you get it. And then the outfit they're wearing is another $15 or $20. And then all the other items in there cost something. Comb and brush set's about $5 or $6, depending on where you get it. And pacifiers cost, and pacifier clips, and all that stuff costs money. And you're just adding more and more money to the cost of your doll and not getting as much as you had planned to get for the doll. So I just took away all those things and lowered my price because that's what people seem to want. Okay, that's got her covered with this color. And so, long story short, I had all those bottles for all this time. I made them when I was still living at my son's house, and I just had them in a drawer or something. Forgot all about I even had them until I started moving this cabinet over here and moving my stuff into it. And then I go, oh, look at those bottles. I didn't even know I still had those. So anyway, I ended up with all these bottles, and I'm not going to just give them away. Well, I did just give them away, too. I just lied. I did give them away. But I meant I'm not going to give them away to people who want you to go down on the price. So I gave them to the struggling artists that I chose to get my boxes. And they can give them out as box opening gifts to their customers or keep them for their own dolls, whatever they want to do. And I think they each got 3. That's about what I had, was 6, I think. It might have been they each got 4. I really don't remember. I just know that I had them. I sent them the belly plates, too. I despise belly plates because they're so hard. Same reason I don't like torsos. They're hard and clunky, and they make your doll so thick and clunky. And when you try to put clothes on them, it just doesn't look good. That big, clunky, looking thing that, that they just make them thick right through their middle part, and they just don't look good. And this is just not working out. My hands are so shaky. I had a variety of different belly plates. I think I showed them in one video. I don't know which one it was, but I had some that were just little tiny belly buttons almost. They just tiny little strip of stomach with a belly button. Had some that were mostly upper chest. They finished off right about the belly button. They were long enough to have a belly button, but they weren't long enough to have anatomically correct parts. And then there was some that came really far down, but they still were generic. They were not anatomically correct. So all the ones that had front and back plates, there was a bunch of them too. I got them in a trade with this lady. And I reborned most of them. Some of them I sold, front and back belly plate, and I just sold them off when I first got them by putting, ads on eBay because I didn't want to fool with them, and I wanted to recoup some of the money I lost in that trade because I certainly got the raw end of the deal in that one. I had no idea that her stuff was so damaged. She took everything out of the bags and put them in totes and had them in her garage. But evidently she didn't have no tops on them totes because all of them items were very, very, very dirty. Some of them had paint on them where she tried to paint them, and then she just stopped and didn't finish it. So some of them needed to be stripped, and it was just a lot to deal with. Everything was in disarray. She didn't put them back in bags. She just sent the doll kits the way they were, and I had to match the arms and legs up with the bodies myself. And it was a big, big fiasco. And also some of her kits were damaged, and I don't know. I just didn't like I kept them. I probably could have made her give me my money back, but I kept them. It was a lot of kits. A lot. And it's like she bought the whole store out. The amount of needles and stuff she had, I sold all that too. I wasn't even rooting dolls at the time. And so she didn't send any hair, but she did send the needles. And you can't even know how many needles it was. It was so many. So many. Bountiful Baby, I think most of them came from Bountiful Baby. Because Bountiful Baby puts theirs in little medicine bottles and puts a little tag on the outside that tells the order number. And that's what they were. They were in little medicine bottles with tags on the outside. And so I figured they came from Bountiful Baby. And there were multiples of every number that they had, I think. And I just go, collection of needles, so much money. And then I just give them 5 or 6 of those packs of needles. And they go, oh man, I got so many needles for my money. And those little holder things, they're kind of mushroom shaped. And you put your needle in it. I sold them too because I tried to use one. And it just caused, by the time I tried to use it, I was already beginning to root. And I had been rooting without any kind of a holder, just by holding the needle itself. They're uncut needles. The cut ones, you can't do that. But the uncut ones, you can. And so I had already been rooting, holding the needle in my hand. And I thought, oh, goody, I have a holder, so it must be much easier. Well, no, it wasn't, because I was already used to the angle and everything of the needle by itself. And putting it in that little mushroom thing changed the angle, and I was breaking needles again. So I quickly dispensed with that. I found that just rooting with a bare needle is much, much easier, in my opinion. Now, people who start out learning with one of those little things, you get the hang of it, you do, but I'd already got the hang of it without it. And so now trying to learn it again, I just didn't want to go through that, so I just dispensed with it. And just kept on with the bare needle. And I saw tips online where people put rubber bands around them to give them a gripper. That also made it made that portion of the needle weaker because, well, it's very thin. The needles are very, very thin, and anything that puts pressure on a certain portion of the needle is going to cause the needle to slip or break or something. And that's what happened. I broke a lot of needles doing those things. So I ended up just using a bare needle. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was something about the kits and stuff. I don't know. I don't really remember what point I was trying to make, what the whole point of this whole conversation was, except I got a bunch of kits from that lady. I bet it was 40 or 50 kits. Now, I have a friend that's one of my reborning friends, and we shared the kits. We went through them. We did a a FaceTime thing, and I showed her all the kits and which ones I wanted to get rid of and stuff, and she decided which ones she wanted from that. She just looked at my kits and said, "Oh, I'll take that one. Oh, I'll take that one," and we split up the price like that so that I did get some of my money back. But the amount that I paid for them kits, I think it was worth it still, because it was way under the price that you'd pay for a kit from Bountiful Baby, per kit, I mean. But it wasn't totally worth it because of the condition they were in. But it was okay. I did reborn them, and some of them sold for very, very cheap, but the kits were very, very cheap, so I don't know. But anyway, and I practiced rooting hair on them too. Okay, Kaya is finished. We're going to get her another bake, and she will be totally finished. She looks shiny right now because she's wet, but she won't be shiny when she comes out. Her arms and legs are done. Her nails are tipped. We're finished. So I'm going to thank you for watching Kaya's series. Stay tuned for Evelyn. I've already started her. I've already made the first video, but it's not posted yet. I'm not going to post it until all of Kaya's are posted. So they'll be in order. I hate it when they're out of order. A few times I've done it so out of order it was ridiculous. I skip over one, or I do one twice or something like that. And I'll go back and catch myself and fix it, but I don't know. Sometimes it's because I'm tired. Sometimes it's the angle of this camera. I have to bend down to see it because it's angled down toward the table so you can see what I'm doing instead of being straight out toward my face like it used to be. But anyway, Kaya's going in the oven now, and she's going to get a bake, and then she'll get her glue and her magnet and all that, and she'll be put up there to dry. And when she dries, I'll give her her hair. And I really am going to make a baby reveal because I haven't made one in a long time. And people keep asking, why don't you show the finished doll? I don't know. I just don't. But anyway, thank you for watching Kaya's series, and please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And happy reborning.